Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to the Engage livestream. I'm delighted so many people have come back to join us for the second day. I'm just as excited and just as enthusiastic as I was yesterday. Engage livestream. Like, this is the best invention ever. Welcome one and all to the second day of Engage. This is the Engage livestream where we'll be recapping all of the day's events. We've got interviews, we've got videos, we have got highlights from the second day of the NCCPE's Engage conference. What is the NCCPE's Engage conference? I know many of you in the chat box are very well aware, but if you're not, it is an annual conference which looks at public engagement with research. Together we have community practitioners, public engagement professionals, university representatives, funders, all coming together to look at how we embed public engagement with research across the UK and further afield. So today we've got some of our conference reporters. You met Emma yesterday. We've got Akram and we've got Dawn, who are two of the conference reporters, and going to be telling us a little bit about the sessions that they went to today. We're also going to be hearing from Paul Manners, who is the director of the NCCPE, with some reflections on the plenary session this morning. So welcome one and all. Delighted that so many of you could join us again. The little chat box is lighting up. Hello, everyone. And we've got, who've we got? We've got John there. Hello. Oh, Helen's back. What I like is people have come back. Like, Steph is back. Helen's back. You're round two. That's what you want to see. If it was all different people, I'd be worried. But Monday's folk have come back, which is really nice to see. Now, before we get into the interviews, I thought it'd be interesting to share one of the little clips that you might have seen if you came to the plenary session on Monday. One of the little clips. Before the plenary started, we went round public engagement professionals to try and get an idea of what 2020 looked like for a public engagement professional. So we interviewed lots of different people to get their voice, and we asked them to share one word that sums up 2020. And I'm going to share some of their responses with you just now. While I'm doing that, I ask you, public engagement professionals, public engagement fans in the chat box, tell me one word, one adjective that sums up 2020. Bear in mind, there's a profanity filter turned on. Keep it clean. But tell me one word that sums up your 2020. While you're thinking, while you're mulling across that one word, let's hear from some of the public engagement professionals that we interviewed earlier on this month. One word that sums up 2020. Here we go.
If you could use one adjective to describe the last 12 months, what adjective would you choose?
That's a great question.
That would be roller coaster. I realise it's not an adjective, but we've kind of been on this huge, great trip, and sometimes it's nice and smooth, and sometimes you're at the top of a rise and you can see this huge new vista before you, and sometimes it's just loop the loop and corkscrewing all the time.
Challenging would be the word I used.
It's really highlighted the fragile and the provisional nature of our lives to a large extent.
Stushy. It's been a bit of a stushy. There's been an awful lot of disruption in the last 12 months.
Flickering. It's allowed us to catch glimpses of things, maybe of different futures or different pasts, as they kind of come in and out of focus.
It's really hard. It's been a weird few months.
Repetitive. Humbling.
The adjective that I would choose is revealing. I think some of the new ways in which we are relating to one another is quite hopeful.
I say challenging in a literal way because it has been hard. It's thrown up challenges to try and overcome. But I think it's also challenged, as in it's kind of pushed people, it's pushed me, it's pushed organisations to think in new ways, and often those new ways are good. What we prioritise in life and work.
I'm loving watching the chats come in. Tumultuous is just such a beautiful word, don't you think, John? Zoomerama from Rick. I'd have said internety. So that's some of the responses from public engagement professionals that we interviewed earlier on. I was just saying yesterday that it was a really reflective session. People were quite emotive. It's been quite a year, and as I predicted, I think the mood of the conference has shifted slightly. Today was a little bit more celebrational, and we're going to hear a bit more about that as we go through today's session. I'm now going to introduce my first guest, though, and as we are going through, please do keep thoughts, comments, questions, hopes, dreams coming in the chat box. It's really nice to see you interacting with the session and interacting with each other, so please do make this as social a session as you possibly can. Leave a comment in the chat box. If you're thinking, how do I do this? How do I leave a comment in the chat box? Periscope is a little tricky to comment on. You need to be logged in, but join us on YouTube. YouTube comments are coming in thick and fast, so do join us on the YouTube link, which the NCCPE and I have tweeted out. And if you've got an account, you'll be able to join the chat with us. So thank you for joining in. Oh, there's Susan from Cali as well. Hello. Now we're going to get on and meet our first guest, another one of our reporters who are spending the week going to Engage sessions, so you can catch up with them in the afternoons. So our first guest, I'm going to bring him up on. Akram, you saw him already in one of the video clips. Let's say hello, Akram. Hello.
Hello, Jamie. How are you?
Hello, I'm very good. Thank you for joining me. Now, Akram, I said in the first session, I don't really like introducing people because I think I like to hear it in their own words. So, Akram, in your own words, who on earth are you? Who is Akram?
I have no idea who I am. But what I do know from my label on my door is that I'm a professor in experimental particle physics, and I'm the academic lead for public engagement at Brunel University. And one other thing is that I should learn to answer the question. When you said one adjective, I sort of gave a whole spew of a couple of sentences. So I'll try and listen.
Your answer was perfect. It's so difficult. A lot of people were giving me words and going, it's not an adjective, sorry. We were just wanting the responses, so it was absolutely brilliant to hear from you. So Akram, Engage. This is not your first Engage, is it?
No, I've been thoroughly engaged for 4 times now. This is my 4th time back, and it's been truly amazing. And each time it's revealed a new thing that I can take back. See, it's the energy it gives you, the enthusiasm, the people that you touch and feel and talk and grab ideas. And then you try and take back and you try and integrate and play. And you fail a lot of the times because you've got to customize it according to your institute. But it is full of energy, and we can feel that today as well. I mean, you can sense it, yeah.
It's somehow recharging, the Engage conference, and I'm glad that is still being replicated, despite the fact that we're online. So tell me, Akram, what sessions have you been to today?
Well, I've been to a lot of them today, but I think the thing that, because we've got a very short period of time, so I can't really go on about it, and I'm sure others will follow. But I think the most exciting one, which was unexpected. I mean, where was the plenary? I mean, when I say unexpected, when you have a title like funding research that makes a difference, I thought, oh my God, how many have I been to before? And we're just going to get lots of streams of, sort of what of things are available and how to fund those things and stuff like this. But I was just astounded, shocked, and really excited. I mean, we've got 2 very, very, amazing and I think inspirational leaders, CEOs of one from the UK's research and innovation, so the research side, and one from the National Lottery for community funds, and so from the other side, the community and the research. And I think what was very, very powerful was their vision. It was different. It was not the same. They actually got it, I think, for a change. From our research, I mean, I think they, this notion that you do research with one lead professor and it's just, sort of a culmination of him. I think what we saw today and what we beautifully articulated was this notion of a whole ecosystem, a sort of a complex web of people that work into producing impactful research. And I think they have to be valued and they have to be shown, in maybe hopefully in the next ref. And that was really wonderfully articulated. And I think, also from the community side, there's a wonderful vision as well of, how, this quote is in my mind. She said, what matters to the community is very, very important, not what communities matter. And I think that resonates with me because it's the voices that take part in discourse which are very, very important. I think that's always very, very important. I mean, how do you break down these barriers? What is the language that we need to start to articulate and develop to some extent? And I think it comes back to listening and not talking and not expressing what you think to a large extent, which is what I need to do.
One of the comments I wrote down from the plenary this morning as well is that we have to give away some of the power as well, which I really liked. And even just that the office feels dull now, that we have changed environments. We've seen how we can change, and now we must continue to change. And I really liked hearing the contribution from kind of third sector as well, how communities and charities are working, because as universities, the more opinions we can get, the better. So we just have a little minute more with you, Akram. Any particular feelings or thoughts that you took away from the plenary? Is there anything you think, yeah, this is a really an idea that I really, really liked, I'd like to take back to work?
I mean, I think these diverse voices, these echoes that one hears from completely different quarters, I think it's, that can produce excellence. And I think this was said, and I'm really happy that it was said, that excellence means diversity. And we really need to bang that and so sort of resonate that throughout the university, and make it a part of its DNA. And who's going to do this? Public engagement professionals. They are the real ambassadors. They know how to do it, and they can articulate it. And you've got to personalize it. You've got to emotionalize it. You can't rationalize it. I think, the brain is very good, but the heart speaks louder. So I'm going to take that away, Jamie.
a beautiful note to finish on. Thank you very much for joining me today, Akram. We'll be seeing you again later on in the week, and your conference reporting. So Akram, thank you very much for joining me today. See you soon. Bye-bye. So our first guest, in a second we're going to be hearing from Paul Manners, director of the NCCPE. And in the meantime, I have also been looking at the conversation that's happening on Twitter as well, because Engage, we like to engage. I've mentioned this. It's worth looking at Twitter to see what tweets are coming in, which I've done. I'm going to bring up a few of my favourites. from today. I'll be looking out for more tweets tomorrow. Now, we're going to go into our second interview, and the second person we're going to be speaking to today is Paul Manners from the NCCPE. Paul's going to give us some reflections, I think, on the plenary session, and also mention those Watermark Award winners and what that means exactly. So please welcome to my little virtual stage, this corner of the internet, which is pink today. We're changing colours. Please welcome Paul Manners. Hello, Paul. Ooh, I can't hear you. Are you muted? Is it me? It's all going so smoothly. Let's try another scene. Let's see if we can hear you here. No, we can't hear you. Try a wee refresh of your browser there, Paul. Try and refresh your browser. We'll come back to you in a second. If it all goes horribly wrong, we have Dawn waiting in the wings to take place. So hopefully Paul will be joining us in just a second. There's loads of you watching, which is really exciting and not putting pressure on me at all to get everything working. So thank you for joining us. Let's see what's happening in the comment box. Quite a mug. Yes. You're just chatting to each other. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Let's try for Paul again. This is going to work so smoothly. It's going to be a thing of beauty. He's back.
Hello.
Yeah. We solved it. Excellent. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you.
So, Paul, I'm going to start off the same way I did with Akram. Just if people are new to NCCPE, they may not have come across you. I think that is unlikely. But just in a few words, who is Paul Manners?
Yeah, do you know, I was just thinking about that. I am a very, very lucky man. Because the NCCPE is a team of people, and you know, what they've been doing over the last couple of days to make this conference work is just extraordinary, and I just feel incredibly privileged to be part of that team. So it's myself, I'm co-director with Sophie, but yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to the team who put so much into making this conference work.
Yeah, I'll just echo that as well, because I'm seeing some of the behind the scenes going on, and to have this beautiful smooth running conference, the amount of work that is going in, I know the team are working around the clock making all these events happen, because it's a huge event. So congratulations to everyone that's involved. So Paul, you were in the plenary this morning, and I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel it was a slightly different tone. Yesterday was about kind of coming together and sharing some pain. I think today took us off in a slightly different direction. How did you feel that this morning went?
Yeah, absolutely, Jamie. I think you put that beautifully. Do you know, I was really quite discombobulated by the plenary this morning, and because I suddenly felt that people like Ottoline, the chief executive of UKRI, were kind of talking our language, and I just have not experienced that ever before. And it made me think, I've kind of got used to thinking of the NCCPE almost like a little tent, maybe a slightly colourful circus tent in the grounds of a big, formal, stately home. And occasionally we're invited in, and occasionally people come out and visit us. But we live in different worlds. We speak a different dialect, and our motivations and our values are different. And I thought today, goodness, this is so significant. The values that Ottoline and Dawn talked about around a people-centered practice, around relationships, around, connections, around systems. It's a language and a discourse and a framing that, to me, feels very, very familiar, but which has never felt reflected back. And I feel an enormous sense of hope about that, but also a real sense of responsibility now, because now is the time for us to step up and do what Akram talked about, which is to show that we can do this stuff. But suddenly the pressure on us to deliver excellence feels greater than ever, actually. So I feel kind of discombobulated.
And I liked one of Dawn's comments I saw in the chat box, because we had UKRI and we had the lottery fund, and Dawn was saying, could there be a kind of an exchange program? Because I think although we're both driving towards very similar goals, the approaches, the languages, the viewpoints are completely different, and we have so much to learn, I think, from both areas.
Yeah, and I loved it when I thought Dawn was very honest about the things that they've tried, because she also made it clear that to do this kind of work well is really hard. And she talked about these big multi-year, multi-million-pound projects tackling kind of aging well, but also how hard they were to get them to work. And it reminded me of some of the work we've been involved in, which has started really small. So we ran a project called the Community University Partnership Initiative, which was about very small, tiny investments, really, just in beginning to build relationships. And without that, it's really hard to build these kind of massive superstructures. And so actually being cautious about over-promising what we can deliver. And I think that's a theme that will come up tomorrow in the plenary. So tomorrow's plenary, I think, will very much build on today. We've got Richard Jones from the University of Manchester, who's written really persuasively about the inequalities of how research and innovation funding is spent and distributed across the UK. But we've also got another chief exec of a big civil society funder from Power to Change, Vidya, who's going to, I think, talk about this from a kind of community angle again. So we'll very much, I think, push the themes from today a bit further tomorrow. Yeah. I guess the other thing, Jamie, I just wanted to say was how joyful it was to see the Watermark Awards on the end of that plenary, and just to see some of that excellent practice. And to see UCLan and Dundee, both universities, getting institutional awards, and also Gurdon Institute and the School of Physical Sciences. And to just see, we work so hard with those universities to really get to understand where they're going with their engagement, to support, to nudge them forward, and to see that commitment from those universities was really encouraging.
Yeah. And just if people are unfamiliar with the Watermark process, can you just say just a word about what the Watermark kind of looks for? How do you work with a university to kind of look at that culture of engagement?
Yeah, it's a very, it is a big commitment on both sides, because we really get to work closely. Those of you who know us will know that we use our EDGE tool to sort of look at different dimensions of excellent engagement. And the Watermark is the EDGE tool writ large, really. We survey the university using that. We interview people. The university submits a really in-depth application, and then we meet a number of times to review and develop that. And a key part of it is about the action plan, the forward plan as a result of that process. And that's ultimately where we look and say, yes, this is really clearly committed. It's really built on the findings. And I think it's hard work. It's hard work for everybody, but it's good work. And it's the kind of work I think that people are increasingly going to be expected. The Knowledge Exchange Concordat say the action planning for that people will be doing over the next few months is very similar. Mm-hmm. I guess the other thing, what a treat to have so many workshops. But I think just picking up that theme of excellence again that Akram talked about, the fact that we have to do excellent work. I just came from the Academy of Medical Sciences talking about their work on rapid response public engagement. It was just brilliant, seeing what they've done, how they've responded to COVID, how they've reacted so quickly, how they've updated their methods, and particularly how they brought patient voice and patient involvement right into the heart of what they do. It was utterly impressive, and exactly the kind of thing I think that we're going to need to be doing more of.
And also just, Paul, impressive that you're managing to get to sessions as well. I'm delighted that you are, but I know how busy the team are. And so just remind us just one more time what tomorrow's plenary is going to be looking at.
Yeah, tomorrow it's really very much picking up on today's themes, but it is taking the lens of place actually as its organizing idea. So both Richard and Vidya are going to look at place-based engagement, and Richard's going to look perhaps from a kind of macro level at the kind of research and innovation policy and how that needs to shift. And Vidya is going to talk again from a macro level, but actually from the community perspective on what she and her team have learned from COVID-19 about how to invest in community. And she's going to put some really tough questions to us as a sector about what she thinks we can do to help. And that theme of listening and connecting and letting go of our kind of dominant kind of worldview, I think, is hopefully again going to be brought to the fore by having Vidya talk alongside Richard. So I can't wait.
Brilliant. And again, Engage is that place for the tough questions to be posed and answered and debated, which will be really great tomorrow. Paul, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your insights into the rest of the week. I hope things continue to run as smoothly as they have been, and that you get to enjoy some of Engage as well. Paul, thank you very much for joining us. See you soon. So that was Paul Manners, one of the co-directors of the NCCPE. We still have another guest. I know you're thinking there's only 5 minutes, but we still got another guest to go, which is really exciting. And this is a person I absolutely adore. She's absolutely fantastic. Let's welcome to my little virtual stage, Dawn Smith. Hello, Dawn.
Hi, Jamie. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
You're very kind. Lovely to see you. How are you doing?
I'm very good. I'm glad that this is all working as well. And we can hear you. We can see you. It's going to plan. I see in the comments as well, just to say, I see that you couldn't hear me when I was talking about the tweets. That's entirely my fault.
I was holding up a little sign for you.
Oh, did you? Sorry. See, I told everyone that you're amazing. This is always going the extra mile. I appreciate that. I was in my own little bubble. Thankfully, you had Twitter to read. You had the tweets to read. So the comments were less than insightful anyway. The tweets were better. So thank you for letting me know. Oh, and John's saying hello to you in the chat box as well. Anyway, before we just turn this into a Dawn Lovin', tell us, who is Dawn Smith?
So I work at Napier University in Edinburgh, where I lead on public engagement.
Excellent. And Dawn, you're in the plenary session as well, but you've been to a lot of other sessions today. So tell me about your day at Engage.
Yeah, so lots to pick up on there. I think I'll pick up where Paul left off. So Paul was talking about the watermark and the 4 awards that have been made to different universities today. As I was watching the video about all the things that universities have done, listening to some of the feedback perhaps from the teams after they heard they'd won the awards, it really struck me that they talked about the level of institutional support, the embedding nature of the work that's gone on. And of course, that is language that we're very used to hearing as part of the EDGE tool, which Paul mentioned as well. I think the fact that universities who've won the watermark have really taken time to try and change the culture. So everything that goes on across the universities was really telling. I went this afternoon to a session on ethics, university ethics, particularly linked to community research, which was run by Nick Grattan and Ryan Fox from Staffordshire University. And I think there are some links there because a lot of the work that they've done has been about really challenging the structures in universities and communities to help this really important participatory action research work better. And to do that, they've had to really work to look at the way that universities are, to look at our responsibilities to communities, but also, it works both ways. So I think there's a lot there about the nature of the work that we do and how we have to keep pushing and challenging what's happening.
Yeah, because you're quite interested in kind of the community engagement angle, aren't you? And ethics as well.
I like to think I'm vaguely ethical, yes. I think the work that universities do is linked intrinsically in the communities that we're based in. I think when it's done best, it's remembering that we're members of the community and that we all work together. And the more that we do things in tandem, the better it works. And I think a lot of the people who I've worked with, through the years, that's where the gold dust is, to me anyway.
And we do just have a couple of minutes. We're at time. I'm going to run on a couple of minutes because it's not telly, it's YouTube. Was there anything in today's session that you kind of, when I go to Engage sessions, I often leave them and I think, ooh, I'm going to take that back. That's something I'd like to happen. Was there anything in the ethics session that you felt like, yeah, that's an idea, that is something I want to see at my institution?
I think what was particularly impressive from the approach they've had in Staffordshire is that they've tried to have a really practical way of working with ethics, which can feel like it's a very fuzzy academic theoretical thing. So they're looking to create toolkits which they're doing sort of ongoing training with their ethics committee, but also looking to roll that out to researchers across the university. And I think it's having that practical and theoretical, the two parts to see how they can try and pull those together is really important, because I think we get so scared about this idea of ethics and doing research, particularly when it's embedded in communities, doing it ethically and doing it well. And that comes back to the quality and excellence which you started off this evening with Akram talking about. So I think it is all linked up.
It does. Well, Don, we're going to be seeing you later on in the week as well. So thank you very much for sharing your insights with us today. And you'll be going to more sessions throughout the week, and then we'll be bringing you back to here again. So as I was saying about Emma yesterday, if there are people at the conference and you think this is a really great session or this is a really great idea, are you happy for people to kind of approach you, say hello, give you some ideas?
Absolutely, yes. Either in the sessions or on Twitter, or stalk me by email, send a pigeon north, whatever works.
Brilliant. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you back on the live stream again later on this week, Don. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye.
So that brings us to the end of today. Thank you very much to my guests who joined me. Thank you very much to all of you for watching along as well. I'm delighted we've got even more people watching and chatting along with us throughout the session. So thank you very, very much for joining us. If there's something that you'd like to see, if there's a session highlight, session in the program that you would like to go to but you're not able to, and you think this is a really great topic, then get in touch with us on Twitter or email and say, can you recap on what happens in this session? Because that is what we're here to do. I'm going to share a link to tomorrow's live stream because we're back. We're back again tomorrow, 4:30. We'll be hearing from the other co-director, Sophie Duncan, at the NCCPE, and again, 2 more of our conference reporters who have been out and about getting all the good stories for you. And I'll be looking for some tweets. I want to see those mugs of Engage2020 because sound is going to work and I am going to comment on your mugs. See you again tomorrow. But for now, thank you very much to my guests. Thank you very much to everyone who joined me. Bye-bye.